Hello everyone, welcome to Follow the Money, brought to you by Nairametrics. My name is Ugodre, and of course we do this every week on this channel. If you are just watching this for the first time, you do want to subscribe first and turn on your notifications. Of course, we do have several programs on the Nairametrics YouTube channel. If you're somebody who's interested in investing, somebody who's interested in Nigerian economy or business, then this is the channel that you want to follow, because we help you basically create wealth through the information that we provide on Nairametrics YouTube channel, and we're like authentic when it comes to financial information and financial content online coming out of Africa's largest economy. What a week it was for the stock market last week, because after 11 straight weeks, the Nigerian stock market snapped its gaining streak. I mean, the market has been gaining for 11 whole weeks. That's almost 3 months back to back. And then it just fell short of 1 week to make it full 3 months, because it did snap. The all-share index snapped its gaining streak and slipped 0.77% to close at 144,628.2 points for the week, below the 145,754.91 points that it achieved a week ago. Market capitalization also fell to 91.5 trillion, despite a higher trading volume of 8.5 billion shares. So basically what it means is that you had a lot more sellers than buyers. Yeah, because when you have a lot more sellers than buyers, share prices tend to fall. And particularly if the people that are selling have a lot more volume of shares to sell compared to the appetite of those who want to buy, then share prices tend to fall. So you did have a dip in overall market capitalization last week. And the interesting thing is, it wasn't like it was all bad. I mean, it kind of started very rosy during the week, because Monday and Tuesday we saw share prices go up. The market closed positively, but things took a turn midweek on Wednesday, and the share price was dragged below the 145,000 mark and kind of stayed that way till the end of the week. And the biggest drivers from what we're seeing was the premium index, where you have the likes of Lafarge, MTN, and Zenith, and UBA. So those big mega stocks all shed some gains during the week, and that dragged the market down 1.64%. From a sector point of view, oil and gas sector fell 1.42%. There were some big announcements by Ugodre, which I'm going to get to at some point on the show. Seplat also made some announcements, and Aradel also made announcements as well. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Seplat and Aradel did also shed gains. Seplat did make an announcement, by the way, dividend announcement as well. Consumer goods stocks also dropped 0.94%. Industrial goods stocks dropped 0.83%, and the banking index shed 0.23%. So those are big indexes, and whenever those indexes all do badly, the entire market tends to fall, because the insurance index was the standout index. That one gained 8.21% for the week. So insurance stocks are still flying, man. Yeah, so but despite that, it wasn't enough, because when you look at the market cap of insurance companies compared to the broader index, it's not really that much, you know what I mean? So, but nevertheless, they still did pretty well during the week. And we're going to go straight to the gainers and losers as well. In terms of the top 10 losers during the week, ABC Bus Company lost 8%. That's a logistics and transportation company, lost 8% during the week. Honeywell Flour Mill lost 8.47% during the week. NGX Group lost 8.6% during the week. Howland McCall lost 9% during the week. Sterling Financial Holdings lost 10.18% during the week. And Unilever Nigeria PLC lost 10.29% during the week. And then running up the bottom four, where VFD surprisingly did have results out during the week. So I'm surprised that the share price fell 11.19% as well. Beggar Paints dropped 14.67% during the week. Living Trust Mortgage dropped 16% during the week, and UPDC dropped 17.09%. 0.72% during the week. And those were the top 10 losers the whole of last week. And you can see a lot of them are kind of like not the mega heavyweight stocks, but they were losers during the week. And we flipped to the top 10 gainers, and no surprises, this was dominated by insurance stocks. I did mention insurance stocks gained 8%. That's the broader insurance index, gained 8% during the week. And the top 10 gainers that we're seeing here, AXA Mansard came at number 10. It gained 14.1% during the week. If you're a subscriber of followthemoney.ng, FTM.ng, acronym for Follow the Money. So if you subscribe to that website, ftm.ng, which is the Nairametrics premium subscription blog for people who are interested in investing in the stock market, then this was one of the stocks that we recommended. So you would be at least 14% up right now, or around that range, because AXA Mansard is one stock that we really like and we did recommend for a buy. So it's up 14.44%. I mean, if you're a subscriber to Follow the Money, you do have to pay. I mean, well, like, hey, within a month, you probably recover that money anyways because of sort of stuff that we recommend. We don't only recommend stocks, we also recommend fixed income securities like bonds, treasury bills and stuff like that, even corporate bonds as well, or commercial papers for those who have the liquidity to invest in them. That's why it's called Follow the Money. Back to our gainers, Julius Berger. Julius Berger gained 17.14% during the week. Guinea Insurance gained 17.32% during the week. Champions Brewers gained 17.63% during the week. And Linkage Assurance also gained 17.96% during the week to round up the bottom 5 top gainers for the week. And the top 5 gainers for the week, the fifth was Deep Capital. I'm surprised. I don't know where they popped up from, because, I mean, Deep Capital reminds me a lot of the stock market crash of 2009, 10, 11. I could remember that they came up with some, I don't know whether it was a private placement or public, I can't remember back then. And I always used to wonder, what exactly is this company listing for? But it seems like they're making a comeback, because the share price gained 19.26% during the week. Micure Industries gained 20.5% during the week. Micure seems to be on a roll lately with the sort of share price gain that we are seeing. I did remember 2 weeks ago, it gained 41.52%. And so a little over under a month, Micure is already gaining 60% plus. Wow. Suno Assurance gained 23.8%. One of the insurance companies on the list. That's the fourth one. Remember, I mentioned AXA Mansard, Guinea Insurance, Linkage Assurance. Now, Suno Insurance gained 23.8%. Triple G 30.23%, and Mutual Benefit Assurance was the top gainer for the week, gaining 31.85%. Now, this, if you add it to the 60.4% that they did last week, means Mutual Benefit Assurance has doubled in share price gain in 1 week alone. Wow. 100% Mutual Benefit Assurance share price gain. So, interesting stuff. They did release their results during the week, and this perhaps could be one of the reasons why the stock is doing pretty well. And I think I'm going to get to Mutual Benefit Assurance at some point in the show just to explain what may have been the driver for the stock, because it's been on a roll this month, 100% in just 1 week. Yeah, so what else happened during the week? Owando had his AGM and shareholders approved the share capital increase for the company. I'm going to talk a lot more about that on the course of the show. First Holdco also announced is erstwhile CEO, its long-term CFO and a director in the company, was retiring from the board of the company. His name is Samson Arbi. He's retired. And Seplat, like I mentioned, also announced the exchange rate for its dividend payment for the second quarter of the year. Seplat tends to pay dividend almost every quarter. Some amazing stock doing well this year as well. Presco is also in the news. I'm going to talk about them as well on some point on the show because they did make a very important announcement about some acquisitions that they plan to do. Yeah, so what's the outlook? The outlook for the week, this particular week is that investors' sentiments appear to be weak now. I mean, I kind of feel like maybe it's because there's some profit taking going on. Investors have made so much money already, and people gotta take profit off the table. It's also summer period, so sentiments could also be drying up because a lot of people could also be pulling money out because they're on holiday or not just investing. So perhaps that's why there's a lot more sellers than buyers on the market at the moment. But it's still been a very good week or very good month so far for stocks. This is just the first, loss that we recorded in almost 3 months. So no surprises that the president or the government, the current Tinubu administration, has come out to claim credit, right? They say like it's because of them that the stock market is doing very well, because they're basically telling you that it's their policies that have driven the stock market this good. Do you really believe that? Do you believe that it's their policies that is driving the stock market? I mean, we did report on Nairametrics some weeks ago that we haven't seen the stock market do this well under any administration in a while. And so sort of gains that we're seeing now has not been bettered in years. So is that why they're claiming this? But you know what's funny? Immediately they claimed that it was theirs. The stock market snapped its gains. So did they just jinx it? I'm not trying to be cynical, but I mean, you know how these things happen. So, but anyway, the Tinubu administration claiming basically that they are one of the reasons why the stock market is doing well. So, I mean, you can't blame them for that, though. I mean, if stock market was doing badly, you blame them anyway. So, if it's doing well, they might as well take credit for that. All right, so we're going to the second segment of the show, and we start with FMDQ. FMDQ is an exchange market where you want to trade fixed income securities like bond, treasury bills, money market instruments, and it's the largest in Nigeria. The NGX also trades fixed income securities. Most FGM bonds are also listed on the NGX. NGX is more known for equities, but the FMDQ is more known for fixed income securities. And they did make some big announcement during the week. In fact, they said they were going to list their own equities market. Wow. They want to list their own equities market to compete directly with the NGX. That's basically what it means, because the NGX is the premier stock market in Nigeria. By the way, I mean, it's nothing new. You can have 2 exchanges in one country. And notably in the US, for example, they have the New York Stock Exchange. They have the NASDAQ, where, most tech stocks tend to like to list. So like those are the 2, and I think they also have the Chicago Board of Exchange or something like that, where you have commodity, where they tend to list commodities, but mostly the popular ones are the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. And so it's not really common. I mean, come think about it, it's not really common to have a lot of exchanges really for the equities market, because in Nigeria, for example, it's not like the economy is just roughly $300 billion, the equities market, or let's say, 200 million. Well, I don't even know what our GDP is. I think it's maybe over almost 400 trillion naira out there, but I hope I'm correct, but you'd have the stock market at approaching 100 trillion. So just maybe like 60 plus stocks listed on the exchange that are solid, that at least have good numbers behind them. So some will tell you, look, there is an opportunity for another exchange to list, or to another exchange to be in the market to compete. But then some will tell you, well, I mean, what's the incentive for companies to want to list on either exchanges? Remember that we do have the NASD, which is a small exchange, but mostly list companies that are not quoted. And that's what the NASD for. So NASD basically is that if you own shares in a company and you want to sell those shares, you can go to a market to sell them, even if that company is not officially listed. And that's what the NASD does. And there are companies that are officially listed on NASD, by the way, and not listed on the NGX. So, but the difference is that they don't have as much scrutiny as you would have if you were on the NGX. And so, but with the FMDQ coming on stream, it will be interesting to see which kind of companies list there. So is it going to be like maybe a tech-based exchange? I don't know what their strategy is. But their chairman, Dr. Jibril Aku, confirmed plans to activate the FMDQ equity market. And not just that, they also want to activate the unsponsored depository receipt market as well. And they did last year introduce the long-dated FX futures contract, which extended holdings or with extended holdings period for up to 21 months. So its QEX depository system is expanding and now holds 1.28 trillion worth of securities. Right. So FMDQ did also release their results, and the results were pretty robust. And pre-tax profit was up 66% year on year to 23.2 billion naira. And treasury income stood at 16.2 billion, up from 3.2 billion naira. And other income also doubled to 15.5 billion naira, driven largely by management fees. And total operating income 51.4 billion. Assets stood at 446 billion, and retained earnings 19 billion. So that's a solid set of numbers there from FMDQ, making a lot of money from fixed income securities. Their market cap is actually quite large, though. I think it's probably larger than what we'll have on the NGX, because it's mostly debt. I mean, so a lot of companies have more debt than equity. So it's expected that you would see a larger market capitalization. And the way exchanges basically make money is that the more, the larger the size of the market, or, you know, the more money they make, because they basically charge fees on trading, on transactions. And so that's how they make money. And they did make some other news announcements as well. Their outgoing CEO, Bola Onadele, a.k.a. Coco, a lot of people in this industry call him Coco, who has led FMDQ for about 12 years. Of course, he did announce his retirement late last year, and it's going to be replaced by acting CEO, Miss Kaudi Ugodre. And so he's retired, but the board approved what you call a share appreciation rights, valued at about 14 billion for executives. They call them founding executives of FMDQ, and he's one of the founding executives of FMDQ. And that essentially gives him some stake in the company going on. But there are details around that. From what we gather, he's going to be giving 1.3 billion shares, worth 9.9 billion naira, representing 5% of the current equity of the company. So that, it's a significant holding in the company. He's the founder of it anyway, so expected, and that has happened. And other senior executives that they also tagged founding executives, we're also going to be receiving 1 billion shares valued at 4.6 billion, about 4% of the shareholding of the company. However, the SARs, as the share appreciation rights, are likely to vest in 5 to 6 years and are tied to performance benchmark. So it's not like they're just giving them for free. So they've got to be able to achieve something. But the funny thing is that Coco is leaving. So I don't know what how that's and what they expect him to do for him to earn those shares. But I guess management probably will need to be under pressure to perform, because if they don't perform, then those shares will not vest. So Coco, was in the helm for 12 years, and he's done his bit and done pretty well for that organization. And for his shareholders, I guess they're pretty happy. One of the shareholders, by the way, is the Central Bank of Nigeria. And so interesting that this has happened. So we'll move on to the next story. Presco made a big announcement during the week. It said that it had made a play to acquire an oil palm company in Ghana. It wants to acquire the Ghana Oil Palm Development Company, GOPDC, for a whopping $125 million. I kind of love when Nigerian companies making acquisition sprees outside the country, because they're basically setting themselves up for AFCFTA, because it's basically going to be a largely homogeneous market. No, like what I mean is that like the same market, right? So where people trade different things, and so the larger your scale and value chain, the better you are in terms of how you operate. And so they are making this acquisition not just in Ghana, they are also acquiring Sarah Oil Palm SOP in Nigeria for about $47 million. So a little bit about GOPDC. It was established in 1995. It runs over 21,000 hectares of oil palm trees in Ghana's eastern region. It supports 6,000 outgrower farmers and employs up to 30,000 workers during harvest, and produces more than 35,000 tons of palm kernel oil annually. And that's a huge play Presco is doing. And then for SOP Nigeria, Sarah Oil Palm Nigeria, actually owned by SIAT. SIAT SA is one of the majority shareholders of Presco. So kind of looks like a business combination here. But, I mean, it's an acquisition anyway. So that company was founded in 2019 and fully owned by SIAT, like I mentioned, operates 22,500 hectares in Edo State and plans to begin fresh fruit production, fresh fruit bunch production in 2026, targeting 28,000 tons yearly. So if Presco does proceed with this acquisition, its plantation size will grow from 43,500 to about 60,000 hectares, a scale up that would normally take years to achieve. So it's probably going to achieve that in a little bit under a year or slightly higher if the acquisitions go through. They did face some challenges because they were going to make this acquisition, I think, last year. And so, but they are now basically refiling, trying again, making another attempt after the pushback that they had when they first wanted to acquire this company, particularly the Ghanaian one. But if this pushes through, Presco is on track to be one of the most profitable oil palm companies coming out of Africa. The share price hit over 1,000 naira this year, one of the best performing stocks this year, by the way, Presco. So for shareholders of Presco, smiling to the bank. All right, so the next big story is something around sugar. Not your typical FTM story, but I kind of think this one concerns Dangote Sugar because Nigeria said is ramping up its sugar production drive. And the National Sugar Development Council said it signed fresh agreements with 4 operators to establish large sugar estates across the country. And the first one is in Oyo State. It's going to be called Brent Sugar. And then you're going to have one in Niger State. It's going to be called Niger Foods. And then there's one in Adamawa State that's called Legacy Sugar. And then there's one in Bauchi State that's called UMZA, UMZA. Each project is designed with 100,000 metric tons annual capacity, bringing total output to 400,000 metric tons. What's the big picture here? NSDC boss Kamal Bakin says that the estates will cut Nigeria's dependence on import. So despite the fact that we still make sugar, we've always had this 10-year sugar master plan, but Nigeria still imports, sugar. But it's saying that it's going to cut that import and conserve foreign exchange and spread economic benefits nationwide. Well, but the big picture really is this is all part of a $1 billion partnership with the China Sinomark signed in April to jointly develop sugarcane plantations and processing facilities across the country. The project is targeting around 1 million tons annually on the long run. So we're still far away from what we do need to be sugar self-sufficient. It's also a big deal because this also helps with AFCFTA. And so I'm interested to see how this impacts Dangote Sugar down the line, because that's like the largest sugar, making company in Nigeria. Right. I also want to talk about mutual benefit insurance. I did mention earlier that they had gained 100% or so in 1 week. And during the week as well, they did release their first half numbers with profits quadrupling. Yeah, so quadruple. So when you have your profit quadruple like that, hey, what happens to the share price is what you've just seen. And the insurance revenue surged 44.7% year on year to 41.2 billion in the first half of the year. Insurance service results before reinsurance jumped 327% to 11.7 billion from 2.7 billion a year before. And group profit for the period essentially soared to 11.59 billion, a 373% increase from 2.5 billion the same period last year. So that is why Mutual Benefit Assurance has been one of the best stocks recently. The company's separate profit also rose 64% to 5.9 billion from 364 billion. If you're wondering what the difference is, the first one I mentioned was the group profit, but the company profit as well was up 64% to 5.9 billion. Total asset now currently 61.14 billion. So what were the things behind the numbers? Mutual Benefits growth was powered by a mix of higher premiums, improved underwriting discipline, and some kind of efficient cost management. So no surprises that the company has done pretty well. And that is why you're seeing the share price go up. Does this make Mutual Benefit Assurance all of a sudden an FTM stock? I don't think so yet. But we're going to be looking at that closely this week. A lot of stocks are in overvalue position, and we're going to talk about that on FTM. In case you're a subscriber, look out for a post around stocks that, or maybe industries that we think are overvalued. They're kind of like a lot of stocks that have hit that overvalued territory based on our own valuation, by the way. So you want to be careful, but good stuff for Mutual Benefit Assurance. All right, so we go into the cement industry, and three major cement companies are making a whole lot of money, and they are Dangote Cement, the leading, Boa Cement, and Lafarge. This is despite people complaining of cement price increases. Cement prices have gone from like 5,000 naira per bag in 2023 to roughly 10K per bag in 2025. And as much as you're seeing cement buyers complain, or construction, workers complain, or construction people complain, and cement companies are basically smiling to the bank because the industry is keeping, in terms of operating profit, 40% of every revenue that it is making as operating profit, which is solid. And it's able to do that because it's priced a lot of its products higher. And so, for example, Dangote Cement did revenue of 2 trillion the first half of the year, up 17%. And however, sales volume did dip 4% to 13.37 million tons. And as their CEO put it, strategic pricing drove results. That's what he said. Boa Cement also recorded 59% year-on-year growth in revenue to 580 billion. However, they mentioned that the production was up 21%. Production doesn't necessarily mean volumes of sales were up, but from what we also gather, it was also price driven. Lafarge revenue 517 billion, sales up 70% in the second quarter of the year, and also price driven. So from what we're seeing, volumes are flat, but prices adjusted, and cement companies are making good money. Cement prices are also going up in terms of share prices. Boa Cement has had a surge in share price. Lafarge, more than any other, has had a surge in share price. Dangote Cement also had a surge, but not as much as Boa Cement and Lafarge. So these are the two companies that have had significant surge in their share price. Yeah, so what else did you want to talk about? Owando says it might be raising 500 billion naira in capital as they plan to restructure their company. So, Owando has been in the news for a bit. Share price has also gone up, but the company does need to fix its capital structure because of years of accumulated losses. And the board has made the bold move to do that with plans to raise 500 billion in new capital. They do also have debt that they need to pay down as well. So perhaps this is the next phase of the company's restructuring, which has been going on for some years now. All right, so that is Follow the Money, brought to you by Nairametrics. Of course, my name is Ugodre. I hope that you found everything that we've said today pretty useful. There are more shows like this on Nairametrics TV. So in case you want to subscribe and keep watching, I mean, you can check several other shows that we have that tend towards business. This has been Follow the Money, brought to you by Nairametrics. And until we do this again, do have a profitable week ahead. Bye.